If you start this early, let's say you start when you're 18 years old and you can find a way to put aside $500 a month, which is just over $16 a day, and you invest the $16 a day, $500 a month, and you do this until you retire at 65, and you never increase how much money you invest. So you just stick with the $500 a month, and you start this when you were 18, $500 a month, put that right there, and you can get a 10% annual return on your money, which is the average stock market real estate return historically. That doesn't mean that it goes up by 10% every year, but over the long term, we've seen the stock market and real estate market grow by between 7 to 10% a year. If you do that, you will retire with almost $6 million in your bank account with your $500 monthly investment, and I'm still assuming that you're not increasing the amount of money that you're investing. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, but Jasprit, the 10% annual return is high. I don't know if I can do that. Well, let's assume now that you start at 18, you put aside the same $500 a month, but now instead of a 10% return, you can only get a 7% return on your money. If you do that, guess what? Now you're retiring with over $2 million. And this is assuming now you get the lower end of the annual returns. And if you still can't even meet the 7% return, let's go a little bit deeper. You start at 18, you put aside the $500 a month, but now you can only get a 5% return on your money, which is a below average return on your money. Well, now you still have over $1 million, around $1.1 million put aside for investments from just your little $500 monthly investment. But now what happens if you're like the majority of people and you don't have this sort of financial education when you're 18 years old and you start learning about money a little bit later? So now you start investing your money when you're 45 years old and you start with the same numbers here. Let's assume that you start with the same $500 monthly investment and you can get a 10% return on your money. In this case, if you started at 18, you're going to have $6 million. In this case, if you start at 45, well, you're not going to have $6 million or $2 million or even $1 million or even $500,000. You will have less than $400,000 when it comes time for you to retire, because now your money has less time to grow. So what do you do in this situation? Well, you might say, well, I'm 45, I'm going to have more income so I can invest more aggressively. All right, so let's do that. So now you're 45 years old and now you're not investing $500 a month. We're going to double it to $1,000 a month. And you can get the same 10% return because now you're smarter, you're more educated, you can get a better return on your money, and now you're still not going to have 6 million or 2 million or even 1 million. You're going to have now $750,000. Not bad, but nowhere near what it could be if you just started a little bit earlier, even though you're investing more money right now. But now, what if now you have even more income and you can invest even more aggressively? You start at 45 now, and now you're investing $2,000 a month, getting the same 10% return because you're smarter, you're older, and now you're not getting the $750,000, you're gonna have 1.5 million. So now you're going to have to really make up for that lost time, because now you need to invest more aggressively here and you need to invest more aggressively here. So if we come back to this formula where your income minus your expenses equal your investments plus your savings, a lot of people assume that, okay, I'm young and I don't got to worry about this side of the equation because, well, I just spent so much time in school, I finally got a good job, now it's time for me to enjoy these expenses. It's time for me to buy a nice home, have a nice apartment, have a nice car, have some nice stuff so I can finally start enjoying my income. But what happens, and what we don't realize on this side of the equation, is that your investments here are actually compounded by time and, I'm going to put this over here, by time and the return, the interest rate that you can get. Because now the more time that your money has to grow, the more your money can grow and the much bigger it can be, and the better return you can get, well, the bigger your money is going to grow because you're getting a better interest rate on your money. Now, the way that you can get a better return is by either being more active in your investments. You know, you can invest your money in yourself, you can invest your money in your own business, you can invest your money into your own idea, or you can be more educated in your investments. Like if you be more educated in how you invest your money in stocks or real estate or maybe even cryptocurrency, now you can look for ways to get better returns because you are a more educated investor and you can take more calculated risks. More potential risk, more potential return. However, it comes with that sort of education. On the time side, the only way that you can get this time back is now if you get educated and start taking action sooner. Now, if you're watching this right now and you're saying, well, I'm not 18 anymore, so I can't go back in time, and you're right. But the best time to start now is today, instead of just constantly keep waiting for a time where I want more income. Because once I have more income, then I'll be able to do more of this. However, we can always work to reduce this while also working to increase this. So you want to do a little bit of this, that way you can have more money going here. Obviously here your savings are your protection area side, so you want to have a little bucket of your savings, that way, no matter what happens, if your job goes under or if you lose your job, that you have some cash to fall back on. But this is where the wealth is built. It is built through your investments. It's not built through your savings. And the way that you can have more money to invest is you can increase your income and you can lower your expenses. And the problem that so many of us have, especially in this country, because we have this consumerism culture, is when I make 10 grand, I gotta spend 10 grand. It's that net zero thinking where if I have $10,000 in my bank account, I gotta go out and spend $10,000. And so what are you doing? Well, when you take that 10 grand and you go to the Gucci store, you go to the Louis Vuitton store, you go to the Lululemon store, you go to the Apple store, you're making these companies rich. All these things that you are buying are a liability for you. It's an expense for you. But all these things that you have just bought is an investment for them. That Gucci scarf that you bought is an investment for Gucci, but an expense for you. That Apple AirPods you bought is an investment for Apple, but an expense for you. Those Lululemon leggings is an investment for Lululemon, but it's an expense for you. This is where now you want to be spending more money on your investments. This is that sacrifice aspect, where the more sacrifices you can make today, that way you live smaller here, that way you can invest more money here. Because the mistake that so many people make is they just start living smaller without any sort of purpose of understanding why. If you're going to be living smaller, you need to understand why you're living smaller instead of just living smaller to live smaller, because money at the end of the day only has value if you use it. And the whole point of you working to become wealthy and become financially free is so that you can enjoy your money and buy all the things that you want. That way you can buy whatever luxury items, whatever vacations. I want you to have all the nice stuff, but I just want you to be able to afford it first, and that means you have to understand this. If you enjoy this shorter clip from my longer videos, here's another clip that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, if you're interested in learning more about how to invest your money in real estate, our team put together an amazing guide on real estate investing. This guide goes over what real estate investing is, how to start using real estate to generate cash flow, and how to build wealth with real estate. This guide is completely free when you sign up for a daily newsletter. So if you want to read our guide on how to start investing your money in real estate, you can download that guide just by clicking that button right over there. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.